The decision comes as protests continue in Nepal.
About 18 protesting Tibetan exiles scaled the walls of the United Nations compound in Nepal's capital today. Police arrested 60 others rallying outside, dragging some into waiting vehicles. Demonstrators carrying Tibetan flags and carrying placards reading "Free Tibet" remained inside the UN compound on Friday after climbing the wall. UN officials refused to hand over protesters to Nepali officials. Nepal, a key route for Tibetans fleeing Chinese rule, has been criticized for not allowing peaceful demonstrations against China's recent crackdown on protesters in Tibet. Meanwhile, in Taipei, about a dozen Tibetan activists started a hunger strike to protest against the Chinese crackdown. The activists voiced concern over possible Chinese government retaliation against Buddhist monks who disrupted a stage-managed media tour of the riot-torn region's capital, Lhasa. A few hours after the protests, foreign ministers from the European Union's 27 member countries met in Slovenia to discuss the issue. Britain and several other European Union countries are rejecting calls for a boycott of the opening ceremony of the Beijing Olympics in August. French officials said that different aspects of the Tibet unrest would be discussed at the two-day talks that began today, and that Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner would present ideas for a common response. Diplomats said the ministers were working on a declaration that stays clear of a call for a full boycott of the Games.
And I think we have to keep politics out of sport, but at the same time we have to be very conscious that this issue, Tibet, is a very difficult one that we're very worried about, and that we obviously have to, as we have done in Ireland, raise the issue with the Chinese authorities.
The latest round of protests started mostly peacefully among monks in Lhasa on March 10th, the anniversary of a failed 1959 uprising against Chinese rule. They spread to other Tibetan areas, and 4 days later, violence broke out in Lhasa.